Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, November 9th. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought we've been doing business and we've been doing repairs and we've been doing all that other stuff. But the thing I haven't been really capitalizing on again is personal development, because I feel that in order to succeed in life, you need to kind of be a well rounded individual, right? Not great at something and then suck at everything else. That mantra. So today we're going to talk about when showing up just isn't enough. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it, and this is the weekend. Saturday, November 9th, 2024. So what do I mean by sometimes just showing up isn't enough? A lot of us do this in most of our lives, we just show up just to say we were there and never offer any input or take any at the time, right? And it could be anything. It could be getting up in the morning and going to work and just showing up and just doing the same old because that's comfortable. But days pass, weeks pass, years pass, and you're like, where did the time go? And the time went because instead of doing what's best for you and having you grow, you've just kind of had this mentality of if I just show up, it's going to be enough. And it really isn't. Showing up to your daughter's wedding and not giving her away is a prime example. If you're the dad, don't you give your daughter away? Her hand in marriage? Most fathers do. And that's where they don't just show up at the wedding. They're also there offering their support behind their daughter. And they're accepting the new husband into the family. And that's how our families grow, right? You can't always marry the best family. But, sometimes you luck out. So why is it important to do more than just show up? It's because when you look back on your life, you're going to have a lot of regrets. And how do we change that? How do we just not show up? Well, helping others is a key part of it. But, if you've listened to a few of my self-help videos and stuff, not really self-help because it's up to you what you decide to do, but the videos that I have on personal development, you'll know that I'm a firm believer in that your house has to be in order first before you can help someone else. And I've seen so often that people will just stretch themselves thin helping everybody else, but they're not taking care of themselves and their family. They're always gone. They're always doing these events, cancer rides, to what have you. But they're not taking care of their core. And their core starts with, of course, you, yourself, and how are you doing physically and mentally? I mean, that carries over a lot. It's like with me right now with pneumonia and some other thing that's going on in my chest and stuff like that. I'm not at the peak, right? So I have to cover my own bases first. And that is, what do I need to do to get myself back on the mend and back in the game? And as hard as it is, I have to listen to my doctors and family members when they say, and even Claude, he's been a godsend here for the last couple of weeks with everything going on. is he's not allowing me to lift. He doesn't want me exerting, because he knows too that if I don't take care of myself and I don't relax and step back, that I'll never be at my peak again, if you know what I'm saying. Because some people don't know when to stop. That fine line of when your body needs to be rejuvenated or nursed, and you're unwilling to take the time to do that for yourself because you're so busy helping everybody else. You're doing the wrong thing. I'm not saying that what you've been doing for other people isn't appreciated, because I would imagine, I hope it is anyways. And I know that some people, if you try to step back and take care of yourself and nurture yourself, take the medications, the prescriptions, for antibiotics and, your breathing and so forth. If you don't take care of it, it's just going to continue to get worse and worse. And to what end? To what end? Because now you become useless, basically, to yourself and to others, because now you become really sick. And I'm not saying you weren't sick to start with, but now you've let your body just spiral out of control, that it's going to take a long time to get back to where you were in the first place. And that's what I mean by where just showing up isn't enough. You need to first take care of yourself. And I know that's hard for a lot of people because they really don't want to stop and look at themselves. Maybe they're not happy with themselves. I'm always a person that says, if you're not happy with yourself, you can change. We all can change. It's, do we want to change? And a lot of times the answer is no, because we become so used to being a certain way that we just do it out of habit. I talked about some things to try out, when you're out and about. And you'd be surprised of how other people will receive you based on your body language, based on, facial expressions, based on how you speak. But if you go into a grocery store, try this today. And as you're walking down the aisles, you don't have to say a peep. Just smile. Just smile at other people and watch what you get back. You'll get a smile back. Maybe not 100% of the time, because that one person that didn't smile back, maybe he's not having a good day. And that's okay. We all have bad days. The goal is to have more good days than bad days. But what are examples you can think of where just showing up isn't enough? You could show up for an exam in school and then not be prepared. Why are you there? You know that you're not going to do well on it because you didn't take the time to prepare yourself for that exam. That's another instance of just showing up isn't going to be enough for you. You might have got away with it for all the classes in the past semester, but now we're at the testing. Where did you learn anything in class over this past semester? And probably the answer is going to be no, because you were just so busy on just showing up. You weren't really paying attention to what the teacher, instructor, professor, what have you, was trying to get across during his lectures or her lectures. But why is it we think that it's okay just to show up? Going to a family reunion, you didn't want to go in the first place. You're being dragged there, basically, but you show up. But you're a Debbie Downer. You're not happy to be there, and you're going to let everybody know you're not happy to be there. instead of having a great time with family at the family reunion. Maybe there's a couple family members that you don't care for. You can always avoid them. There's going to be plenty of other people there to visit with. But I wouldn't be anything but cordial towards the ones that I really didn't care for. And for whatever my reasoning is, maybe they're loudmouths. Maybe they just say things to get other people in trouble. I don't know. But doesn't mean you have to be like them. You know, you hear that saying of, you got to fight fire with fire. And I'm a firm believer, no you don't. In those cases, sometimes when you have fire, get a bucket of water. Put them out. But a lot of us go through life just showing up. And I'm here to tell you that you're going to have regrets. And why are you going to have regrets? Because you never took the time to take care of yourself. And now you're a little older. And now your body's not holding up like it did when you were younger. It can't take and do things like you could do when you were younger. You have to use your head more. You have to be... And this is hard for individuals like me. I find it hard to ask for help because I don't want to bother anybody. I feel people have enough on their plate, you know, and this has been like with what's been going on with me here for the past month and a half. You know, I've had to rely on other people, and that in itself is difficult for me, but I have no other choice because just simply feeding the cows. That's one of the nicest jobs and easiest jobs I have, but just trying to give the cows a couple pails of grain, I am totally exhausted. I can hardly stand. My chest is pounding because I'm trying to suck air in. But like this past week, my son stepped up and my other son and helped me with getting the cows fed and grained and fresh hay and so forth. And then Claude, the last couple of times, he's been doing it, taking the hay out for me. You know, I'll get the grain and take it out with a buggy, and I'll get the grain out, and I'll wait while he's bringing the hay in. But the cold really hurts my chest, so I've tried not to suck too much in. But it's hard for people like us to have to admit that we need help from other people. And just showing up wouldn't feed the cows. You know, I could go out to my garage and not put any grain in the pails, put the pails in the back of the buggy, side by side, and then take it out and give them to them. But if I don't follow through the process, then just showing up isn't enough. You have to be there, and you physically have to be there, mentally have to be there. And one of the things that I find that helps me the most is I love to help other people if I can, but not at the expense of myself. I've learned that over the years. That's something if you're young, you want to keep in mind. It's great to help other people, but you need to take care of yourself first. And that's not being greedy. You have to be greedy if that's what you feel it is. When you need nourishment, when you need food to keep you going, or you need some downtime because you've got COVID, or you've got pneumonia, or you've got a number of other things. But you can't let those things define you either, right? It's going to happen during a short period of your life where you may have gotten sick, and there is the rainbow on the end. We just have to take care of ourselves during that period and admit that, look, I physically can't help a lot of other people. I might be able to with this mic and talking to you, but to physically, go help somebody put up their firewood, or anything that has to do with exertion, I can't. And that's a hard thing for me to admit, that I can't do it all the time. So the next time you think just showing up is enough, I'm here to tell you it's not. When you go to work and you show up at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time you go to work, if you're not giving your best, you're just showing up, you're always going to be in that position. But if you strive to be your best, and what I've always done throughout my life is I've never competed with other people, because that just causes hurt, right? And tendency is if you're competing with other people, you somehow have to downtrod that other person to become better than they are at something, right? And that in itself is a mouse on a wheel in the cage or whatever. But if you compete against yourself to be a better you today and an even better you tomorrow, there's a lot of things that you know makes you a wonderful person. And maybe you've been hesitant because you haven't quite learned how to help others. Just take a quick look at your life, even the last week. What are examples that you have of where you just showed up? And that was it. Because we all do it. But we don't, do it purposely. We just do it. And there's several reasons when it's okay to just show up. And that is if you're not up to 100%. If you need to take care of yourself first and you haven't, sometimes just showing up for other people is enough, okay? You don't have to go above and beyond and strain yourself in the process. And when I talk about being your best, when you compete with somebody else, are you defining that what they're doing is the best, or is it mediocre? And I've seen that happen so often too, is that people will compete against their coworkers and other people to be better than they are. But they're not that great. So if you change the way you think of things to, I'm going to be a better me today than I was yesterday. What can I do to make me even a better me the next day? See, that way you're going to find getting to be the best that you can be. And you will shine versus trying to compete with others. So in the comments, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Where have you been where you just showed up? And was it enough? And is it enough for you? I'm just kind of curious. All right, so you guys have a great Saturday.